Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for Broadway World. The new musical Holler If You Hear Me, which is inspired by the lyrics of Tupac Shakur, features a creative team which includes book writer Todd Kreidler, choreographer Wayne Cilento, and director Kenny Leon. It will open on June 19th at the Palace Theater with a cast which includes Saul Williams, Christopher Jackson, and Tony Award winner Tanya Pinkins. And I'm here in the rehearsal room to meet the company and bring you a sneak peek.
Getting worried. Teardrops and closed caskets. The street strikes law is drastic and certain death for us ghetto bastards. What can we do when we arrested? But open fire. Life in the pen ain't for me, cause I'd rather die. But don't cry for your despair. I wonder if the Lord still cares for us niggas on welfare. And who cares if we survive? The only time they notice a nigga is if he clutching on a 4-5. My neighborhood ain't the same as all the little babies going crazy or the suffering in the game.
So tell me how you got involved in this, Wayne.
We did a reading 2 years ago, and that was just like book, stand, stools, kind of like little staging. And then last year we did a workshop, and we did from beginning to the end. And I met Kenny when we did Alicia Keys. We did the concert of Alicia Keys, and we've been trying to get together and do some stuff, but it never worked in our schedules. And this came up, and it was a great opportunity, and I thought, yeah, I got to go for it.
Did you know Tupac's stuff beforehand?
I knew a selection of stuff, his big hits, but as in the course of doing this, I learned how much of a genius he is, and he was a poet, and he had really something major to say. It wasn't just like gangster rap kind of stuff. They really had a message, and it was beautiful stuff. It's a very moving piece.
What's amazed you the most about Tupac and working on this show?
Well, what amazed me the most about Tupac and working on this show is that it's his music, but it's now. It means that he could have did this, we could have did this musical maybe 10 years from now, and it would still be solid because of Tupac. I mean, he wrote his songs and his music for all ages. So, yeah, that's the most exciting thing for me about this.
Okay, what did today mean to you? Tell me.
We get to just sort of introduce what we're doing to the world. It's, you know, exciting.
Tell me what it's been like working on this musical.
The story, the way that we're telling the story, the fact that this is music that I grew up with, it's a new opportunity to kind of explore this whole process in a completely different way. Tupac has always meant a lot to me, and to be able to be with this group of people telling the story it's really, really awesome and fascinating. To really hear his lyrics in a completely different way and to really examine them in a way that I never did as a kid is pretty fantastic.
His music lends itself so beautifully to this genre.
Of course it does. I mean, he was nothing if not dramatic. He was nothing if not thought-provoking and entertaining. But at a time where hip hop was still sort of in its infancy, he was a clarion voice, definitely.
Talk about the role that you're playing.
I play Vertus, who is one of the guys on my block, and he's got some issues with John, he's got some issues with Corinne, he's dealing with loss, he's dealing with trying to find his way, and the story sort of takes us on that journey there too.
His music lends itself so beautifully to a Broadway style.
Oh, absolutely. Tupac's music definitely lends itself to the Broadway style. It's every song that he has put ink to paper. It's very dramatic, very theatrical. There's a clear beginning and middle and end, even characters, and so I think that it was a challenge, but I think we've successfully matched our fictitious world with Tupac's universal themes, and that's the key, and he wrote a lot of songs that deal with family, honor, unconditional love, death, all those things that make us human. And so I think it's very timely to hear his voice, to hear his 28-year-old voice, 15, 20 years later, speak to us in terms of what we're going through in our country, whether it's stand your ground, or whether it's the election of a black president, or whether it's a political community that can't talk to each other, or if it's the need for spirituality in our world. His voice, is it's a very great tool to have in telling a story about love of family, love of community, and love of country.
It's as if these songs were written for this musical, for what we saw today.
Absolutely. I think these songs are definitely, they feel fresh. A lot of times you leave a Broadway musical and you say, well, if I can leave the theater humming 2 songs, then it's probably successful. But we already have, like, you know, 10, 15 songs that were already major hits worldwide. So to put them in another context, to put them in a theatrical context, only broadens the likability of the songs, the impact of the songs, and the impact of our story. So I'm sort of very excited to marry 1990 with 2014. So it's a perfect marriage, and with everything that's happened in between.
That's why it don't matter. My pockets got fatter. Now everybody looking for the latter. Hey, it ain't no need in being greedy. If you want to see me, dial the number, baby, when you need me. And I'll be there in the Jiffy.
Don't be picky, just be happy with this quickie. Oh, but when you learn, you can't tie me down, baby doll. Check it out. I get around. What you mean you don't know? Huh?
Round and round.
Hey, I get around. Around.
Round and round.
Hey, I get around.
Round and round. Round we go.
I get around. Why I ain't call you? Please.
What did today mean to you?
Man, it was just an opportunity for us to, you know, step in front of you guys and just show snippets of, you know, what the show is capable of being, you know, and the energy of it, you know, the life of it, the truth of it, you know, because Tupac was a truthful person. His music operates from pure honesty, and if we can reflect that, you know, in every aspect, from anger to joy, happiness, peace, sadness, then it's gonna affect everybody, man. We're not gonna worry about any of that.
So how exciting was today for you?
Oh man, beyond exciting. I mean, we've been, you know, I've been a part of this since the workshop phase, you know, 4 years ago. I've been with it for 4 years, and I keep on having these moments in rehearsal where I'm doing a scene with Chris Jackson and Saul Williams, and we're on our feet and we're saying these words and these lyrics, and it's just, I'm so thrilled, Richie. I'm so thrilled.
Were you brought up on his music?
Yeah, you know, to an extent. I mean, brought up, no, but I found it. Or it found me, I guess, and continues to do so. Yeah, I have distinct memories. You know, I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I have distinct memories of driving through my neighborhood in Tulsa, you know, with my windows down in my truck, you know, bumping Tupac music, and, you know, my friend and I, John and I, you know, taking turns doing Tupac's verse on California Love, and it's just, yeah, so it's, you know, his music keeps following me, and I'm beyond thrilled to be a part of his legacy.
And now you're singing it on Broadway.
Yeah, I know, on Broadway, right? Like, of course, like, why wouldn't Tupac be on Broadway?
And working with Kenny Leon, what that's been like.
Yeah, Kenny is absolutely amazing. You guys got to see a little bit of what he's like as a leader in here with the push-ups and everything. He, you know, we have this motto of giving it 110%, and he really pushes us to give everything that we have in every moment, in every rehearsal, and it's been an amazing experience to work with Kenny, fresh out of conservatory training, and for my Broadway debut.
Then you have Wayne Cilento.
So Wayne Cilento is incredible too. It just, the list goes on. Wayne Cilento, Tanya Pinkins, Chris Jackson. Wayne's amazing, and the whole team, Jared and EO, they keep us looking good.
So when you first sat in the room with everybody, tell me your thoughts.
Well, when we first sat in the room, for the first few days we just did music because our read-through was postponed, so that when we did our first read-through about 4 days into rehearsal, it was a sing-through. So we got to hear all the music, and Daryl Waters has done this extraordinary job of taking music that you think of as music you just hear in your, you know, your iPhone, and he's made it theatrical. So he's added choral voices, harmonies, he's taken these raps and put melodies on them for all of the female voices, and so no one's heard this sound like this. This is going to be a killer soundtrack just to buy, because this music that people are used to hearing with really mostly the bass beat is now fuller with all of these other voices and sound.
Daryl, take me back to the beginning of how you got involved with the project.
Sure. I actually started working with Kenny Leon about 10 years ago. We worked on a project back, I don't even know when now, but Kenny actually asked me to do this one, and I was excited. And then I got more excited as I read the script that Todd Kreidler put together.
So that's how it all started. You know, Tupac's music and lyrics lend itself so beautifully to the style. Were there challenges for you, or did it come easy or easier?
I think that I had a moment where I was trying to figure out what I could do to actually make the music work even more. That's always my job, is to try and support and make things even better. And in this case, I finally realized that he's using a lot of 70s samples in a lot of his music. So it finally hooked into me that maybe what I need to do is go back to those sources and just incorporate more of that into what we're doing here. So once I came up with that, then it's like just a piece of cake.
How do you feel today?
I feel great. It's very exciting to watch it come to life, and you know, it's like busting out of my own hermit life. Writing it and coming with this extraordinary creative team is just, you know, I told the company on the opening day that Kenny and I had breakfast at the Edison Hotel, where August and I always have breakfast, and we were going to the train, and we walked past the Palace, and I saw the billboard, and I said, you know, I thought I was writing to that for the last 17, 20 years, but what I'm really writing is to be in this room with these people and to be able to work with them, because that's the real pleasure. I mean, you know, you think it's the billboard, you think it's that. It's no. I said it's to be able to collaborate with the level of, I mean, I'm working with Broadway royalty, new talent. I mean, it's a privilege to be in this room. The title is a Tupac song, "Holler If You Hear Me," but I always say I'm trying to take the music from holler to hear me, so people can hear what he was actually writing about. That's why I've set the story. It's a fictional story. It's not about Tupac. I've said it in the Midwest. There's no coastal thing. It's nothing. It's about the people and the ideas and attitudes that are contained in his music.
You will always be in my heart with unconditional love.
Come and listen to my truest thoughts, my truest feelings. Most of my peers losing years beyond this drug dealing. How many caskets can we witness before we see it's hard to live this life without God? So we must ask forgiveness. Ask Mama why I got this urge to die. Witness the tears falling free from my eyes before she could reply. Though we was born without a silver spoon, the broken down TV show cartoons in my living room. One day I hope to make it a player in this game. Mama, don't cry. Long as we try, maybe things will change. Perhaps it's just a fantasy, a life where we don't need no welfare shit with our old family. Maybe it's me that caused it, the fighting and the hurting in my room, crying cause I didn't want to be a burden. Watch Mama open up her arms to hug me.
And don't worry about a damn thing with unconditional love.
In this game, the lessons in your eyes to see. When things change, the future's still inside of me.
We must remember that tomorrow comes after the dark, so you will always be in my heart with unconditional love.
So talk about the beautiful ballad that you sang today.
Okay, so Unconditional Love is the most beautiful song. It's a Tupac song that Daryl Waters has taken and like put extra music and melodies to. And then there's the hip hop, there's rapping, you know, it just takes you back to those hip hop love songs that people love, that people would listen to, you know. And I think that it's one of those songs that is going to really surprise people. I think people are going to be surprised to know that Saul Williams, yes, the hard slam poet Saul Williams will sing. You know, he said, oh, they got me doing ballads. You know, it's really cool to see the softer side of hip hop. And that's really important. It really, really is important.
And working with director Kenny Leon.
I love working with Kenny. You know, I have to say, I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and I went to a performing arts high school. And when I was in high school, we would always go and see plays at the Alliance Theater. And at that time, Kenny Leon was the artistic director of the Alliance Theater. So he was like a theater god, like all my life. And so, you know, to finally be an adult and get to work with him is like amazing. You know, I would always run into him here and there in the city, but now I'm actually doing a show with him. I'm so thrilled. I was thrilled and just happy for him with Raisin in the Sun, and now like back to back, he's not messing around. He's ready to do something new, and it's Holler If You Hear Me.
Now talk about the role that you're playing in the show and what you love about him and the journey you're taking with him.
Yeah, well, I'm playing a guy named John Cavanis who's just been released from prison, and after serving 6 years, he was supposed to serve 12, and has decided that he's going to change his life and keep it real simple. He's an artist, he draws comics, and he's just going to stay out of trouble, but he moves back to his old neighborhood, and there's trouble there. And And so he's just trying to avoid it, and he's trying to stay focused, yet it gets more and more difficult. And I really think he's someone that a lot of people can relate to. What I love about it is that I'm from a place called Newburgh, New York, not that far upstate, not too far from here. And Newburgh is a pretty hardcore city. It's been one of the most violent cities in New York State for the past 40 years per ratio, you know, with just a small 35,000, you know, population. And so, like me, I do this for them, you know, for the kids from Newburgh, because his story is a lot of people's story that I know.
Working with this creative team, your director Kenny Leon, Wayne Salento, Daryl Waters, the book writer, everybody, what that's been like.
You know, there's so much talent in the room every day. Tony Pinkins, Saquon, Chris Jackson. I mean, like, there's so much talent that it's just a beautiful collaborative process, you know, and it helps when it's something that you really believe in, where you really feel like this is going to change something, this is going to affect the viewer in ways that are unexpected. It helps when you have that in theater and in acting, because then you put so much more into it, you know, and really that's what my career has been about. Part of the reason why I've been so focused on music and poetry is because I couldn't find stuff all the time in acting to really sink my teeth into. You know, I could play a detective or a doctor or something, but it wasn't something that I really felt, you know, connected like I did with slam. And this is definitely a good continuation in the direction that, you know, I've always wanted to go.
Broadway musical, The Palace Theater. What's going through your head?
I'm Nathan Lane.
To my brothers on the block getting drunk by cops, I'm so around for you. I'm in the other brother's bubble. Holla if you hear me. Telling you to hear